You forgot the first rule of remakes, Jill. Don't fuck with the original.
Hey everybody, Captain America the Winter Soldier is coming out this Friday, and you know what that means?
We're going to be wearing very, very cheap spandex costumes.
Don't we always? Actually, it means another episode of Don't F With The Original.
With Nicholas, I'm the vegan correspondent for Idiomatic.
And I'm Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomatic.com and movie critic. For those of you who don't know, this is what we do. Whenever a movie comes out that's in a franchise, we check out the first entry of that franchise, the original, as we like to call it, and see, hey, what's up with that?
Yep. What is up with that is a great question for this one.
Yes, because we are reviewing Captain America, not Captain America the First Avenger, but Captain America, the 1990 movie. Oh, actually, in North America, it came out in 1992 in direct-to-video, but it actually came out in 1990 in other countries in theaters.
Good for them.
I don't know that I would say that.
that was a sarcastic good for them.
It's universally known as a bad movie,
yeah.
But we really wanted to check it out. I have to say, like, right off the top, before you even get to the synopsis, not as bad as I remembered it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had only seen reviews of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not as bad as the reviews, actually. The reviews made it seem like it was, like, the worst thing since the Antichrist, but it's like, no, it was bland, but that was about it.
Yeah. Alright, well, let's get to the synopsis. Let's get this ball rolling, because I do want to talk a little bit about the first Avenger afterwards. You know?
Okay. Well, it's basically the origin story, somewhat, of Captain America, who was basically created from a super soldier project, taking like weak human beings, trying to make them soldiers to help in World War II, as a counter to a project that happened in Italy that created the Red Skull. So the first encounter of Captain America with the Red Skull is pretty disastrous. He gets frozen in the northern Canada, and then he comes back in modern time, which is 1990, I guess.
Yeah.
And he has to fight the Red Skull again, who has had plastic surgery and is no longer the Red Skull, I guess.
It's true.
He's the White Skull with hair. So what do you think of the movie?
Okay, yeah, let's point out some of the oddities first.
Yeah.
The Red Skull is Italian. Like, that's the first thing where you're like,
where did that come from?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know the comics, you know, the Red Skull is like the uber-Nazi. He's like the anti-Captain America. That would make him German in most mythologies.
I don't know, maybe the 90s were a time of, I think we've hit on Germany enough. Let's hit on the other Axis powers or something, so they targeted Italy. I don't know, maybe it was like, oh, Germany's too cliche for Nazis, let's just go to Italy.
No, it's because they filmed in Italy and they got an Italian actor and they dealt with the accent as is. Like,
I guess.
This is a budget thing. This movie doesn't have a high budget, people.
I guess. I wonder how much more expensive it would have been to find a German actor in Germany, but I don't know.
Why, just bringing him over to Italy? Yeah, I guess.
No, just filming it in Germany. I guess in Germany you can't do that because swastikas are illegal and stuff like that.
No, you can't film anything Nazi-related in Germany.
Oh, that's too bad. Well, you can film it in the U.S. and not have outdoor scenes, but yeah.
No, and I think my question is, why can't you force your Italian actor to, fake a German accent? Like, he's an actor. He should fucking act. Like, I don't...
It wouldn't have been the worst part of that movie. If he had faked a German accent, it would have been bad, honestly.
I think it's better than having to, like, run circles around trying to make this thing work with an Italian Red Skull. Or, like, they even, like, they kill his family and they take him as, like, we want him for his superior intelligence, which, by the way, is a theme in this movie. People will state their intentions to make sure that you understand them.
Yeah.
And you're watching that and going, what? Why would the Germans assume that Italians are smarter than Germans? Like,
good point.
What defined the Nazis that they tended to think they were the top of the, ladder. I'm not sure this makes sense.
We're the top of the ladder, except for those Italians. So I a budget reason makes sense. I just thought, enough harping on Germany. Italy was also evil too. Let's mention that in this movie too.
But they sort of don't. Like, they follow that obnoxious Italian movie trend of trying to convince us that the Italians that did participate in the Nazi movement were coerced into it and forced into it, which is not historically correct.
Yeah.
They were allies.
Yeah, they were. Actually, Italy, the people who were, satisfied with Mussolini a lot less than, people satisfied with Germany and with Hitler in Germany.
That's true.
It was lesser population, but yeah, there's still a lot of people that were like, let's do this,
Yeah. And by the way, like, if you're, Italian or of Italian descent, either or, like, this is not me knocking it. Like, this happened, like, 63 years ago,
Yeah.
65 years ago, whatever.
And people change.
But they don't, like, they're not the same people.
That too.
It's like, no, look, the same way that I went to Japan and had a great time, like, and I didn't go like, oh, axis of evil, like,
Yeah.
the world moves on. But,
Exactly.
But back then, let's stay historically correct. Italy was an ally of Germany, not a victim of Germany.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But
whatever. I get upset about random things.
No, it's something to get upset about. It's just revisionist history saying that nobody's evil ever. That doesn't help. It's like, no, there were some evil people that did some bad stuff, and it was not, it was not just one person. It was like one person and the country who associated with him. Just saying that nobody does nothing wrong ever just doesn't help at all. It just basically. It sounds like a cliche, but it is repeating the mistakes of the past.
But let's get back to the movie.
Yeah.
You spend half an hour, the origins of Captain America during World War II, his first mission with the Red Skull. Then another half hour, him just running from Canada to California.
Yeah.
And he runs most of the way. Like, he eventually gets a car in a hilarious way, but...
He also goes into a truck, he hides into a truck, and I noticed in the truck, Molson Light. I wonder how much Molson paid for that.
I would say Molson didn't pay that much, because again, budgetary problems.
Yeah, good point.
And then the last third of the movie, the president randomly gets kidnapped, and then they go back to Italy to save the president. And it's like, it's three completely different movies. They don't gel at all.
Yeah. Probably would have seen a miniseries or something, like the first 3 episodes of a series or something.
Yeah,
that would make sense, but I don't know. It's not the typical 3-act you see in the movie,
That's true. Although I did enjoy Dick Johnson as the president. The actor's name is Ronnie Cox, but yeah, he plays Dick Johnson from RoboCop, like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he plays like the nicest president on Earth.
I know. It's like... Okay, he's an actor.
Well, let's talk about the casting in general. Okay, so we got an Italian Red Skull. I think the actor is fine, apart from the Italian accent.
Yeah.
Salinger, who's the son of J.D. Salinger, by the way, plays Captain America. Ooh.
Yeah, there was no charisma there. He would not be the fearless leader I would follow as an Avenger, really.
You know what made me laugh is at the beginning when he's Steve Rogers, he volunteers for the Super Serum program because he's not deemed fit enough to join the army under normal circumstances. That's why he volunteers for that program. And I thought, oh, he plays that really well because he's like this kind of big, bulky guy, but he has this sort of awkward posture and he seems to be limping.
Yeah, you see him run a little bit and he was limping as he was running as well.
Yeah. So like... Oh, okay, so he has some physical limitations in his performance. That's really clever.
Yeah.
And then when he turns into Captain America, he doesn't limp anymore, but he still has that same awkward posture. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were a good actor, but now I'm a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. it cured the limp, and that was it.
Everybody on the internet has nitpicked this movie to death.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think it's that bad.
No.
I think it's a B movie.
Yeah.
I think the studios made the right decision by let it come out on video and not release this turd in theaters because it feels like a B movie.
Yeah.
But as a B movie, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's, okay, the action really felt B-movie-y.
Yeah.
The green screen effects were laughable, especially with that rocket thing. Oh my god. But yeah, as a B movie, I've seen worse. After like hundreds of made for sci-fi movies, this would pass as a great movie compared to those, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. It's fine. I mean, the story trucks along quite rapidly because we do get 3 stories in one, so you're never really bored.
Yeah. I
Um,
was a little appalled in the middle story.
you were appalled?
Well, when he's frozen, so he had a girlfriend in the past, and he goes meets her in the future, and she basically admits that she just got with this guy because she wanted a kid, but she's he's a fine guy, but you can see that she doesn't really love him, but she just used him to get a kid, and she was thinking about him the whole time. And I was like, this is kind of gross for me.
I actually have zero problem with that. I think there are millions of reasons why you should marry.
Yeah.
And here in North America, we tend to oh no, romantic love's the only
Yeah.
reason. But you know what? To raise a family, you should need more than romantic love.
Yeah.
And honestly, a good, mutual respect and a sort of deep-seated respect and friendship is sometimes maybe healthier to raise a family, to be perfectly
I guess, but the way she explained it, she still had this whole flame for him, but she's like, I'm getting too old, so I'll get this guy, even though she still had the flame for him. I was
She
like,
settled. She settled.
I guess,
is what it comes down. She settled because he was not available because he was presumed dead.
Yeah,
That doesn't seem so bad.
I guess. Still, it was like, yeah, that's weird.
It's like, she didn't say it in front of him.
Yeah,
in front of her new husband.
that's a good point.
It sucks to be him though. Seriously, he has a nice daughter. He has a wife that I presume they treated each other nice and everything. Probably not the most intense marriage in the world in terms of romantic love, but probably just fine for his needs, I presume.
Yeah.
Then the ex-boyfriend shows up, and he's fucking Captain America, so you can't really compete with that.
Yeah.
And he's young, too, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, just before you can come to terms or discuss it with your wife, some Nazis knock at your door and kill you.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yes. Actually, did they kill him, or was he in the hospital?
Oh, that's right, he was in the hospital,
Yeah.
he survived.
He survived, so they kill his wife. So he's like...
I was gonna lose her anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, that second part I was kind of expecting. Okay, let's move on to the third part.
Yeah.
Okay, President in danger. Let's do this. All right.
It's not even badly written. That second part, should be the awkward, awful part of any movie structured this way.
Yeah.
Because it's this transition act where it's like, oh yeah, right, we got this guy from the past, he's got to be in the present, and then he's got to transition to fighting the Green Goblin. Oh, sorry, the Red Skull.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. The middle part is oh yeah, then Spider-Man's doing random heroic stuff. Okay, let's move on to the Green Goblin, please. And this is the same thing.
Yeah. I actually did like the way they did it. He's found by a guy, and he gets attacked by Nazis, and he's rescued by this guy. And he's like, I'm not a spy. You can trust me, even though he has a Japanese radio, and he's driving a
German car,
German pickup truck, which I did not think existed. But
no, it's even better than that. It's a Volkswagen pickup truck.
Yeah.
Volkswagen did not make pickup trucks.
I know, but again, budget, but still, it would have been odd, seeing a Beetle in North Canada, escaping in a Beetle. That would have been awesome.
Worst secret agent ever.
But yeah, so okay, there's a mistrust there, and he actually has to meet his old flame to okay, what's happening here, and yeah, okay, now he trusts her, so he sees what's happening. Then he hooks up with a younger, hotter version of his old flame.
Yeah.
A little weird, but okay, it's all good.
Yeah, no, and they have nice touches. Okay, such as the German and Japanese equipment that the spy has, which we take for granted now. That's a nice touch. That's a nice thing to play on. That's a cute joke. I like the economy of language. This is a movie that, to make up for the budget, they explain a lot of what's going on, but they find clever ways to do it. So the scene starts he's sitting with the daughter of his old flame. It's like, hey, thanks for letting me stay at your place. Would have been awkward, with my ex-girlfriend's husband. Yeah. It's like, okay, so now we know that he's not in the same place as his ex-girlfriend, and he's staying with the daughter.
Yeah.
And in a very casual conversation that sort of makes sense.
Exactly.
And she's like, oh man, that must be weird for you, VCRs, you didn't have VCRs. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that you would say that in real life.
Yeah.
And he goes yeah, no, movies didn't come in little black boxes, and we didn't get them out from the library either. And then he puts it in, and it's Martin Luther King speaking.
Yeah.
And then from this conversation that's totally casual and normal, you get the point that they went out to the library and got into the archives some news footage for him to catch up on the last 50 years or so.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel awkward. It's I was watching that and going like, that is not bad writing.
Yeah, no, that was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It got the job done without seeming too weird, you know. And yeah, afterwards they go to Italy. Okay, you know, they have 24 hours. They took I guess a direct flight because that went pretty fast.
That's the thing that bugs me about this movie. And it's okay, a movie's allowed to take shortcuts, but like him going from Canada to the United States and then United States to Italy,
Yeah.
what passport did he use?
From Canada to the U.S., he was hiding in a beer truck,
That's true.
and in that time, you didn't need a passport. But
Oh,
yeah,
you're right.
but from the U.S. to Italy, that's a tough one.
How did he pull that off?
that's pretty good. Didn't catch that. I just figured, you know, we have 24 hours to say the president is like, no, it would take you more than 24 hours to book a flight and get to Italy, and you know.
Well, especially in those days, it's not like you can book it on Expedia, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Go see a flight, you know, a travel agent, and, you know, book me this as soon as possible. Well, there's one leaving tomorrow. No, today. I was like, can you get to the airport in 20 minutes?
It's like, yes, I can. All right. Now, about the passport.
It's pretty great having a passport made, and they look at your birth certificate and look at you, and it's like, you're 70 years old or something, you know?
It's been awkward.
That would have been a funny scene, but, you know, whatever, it's not a comedy.
Yeah.
See that.
Well, I mean, like, in the new Marvel movies, they would have added that scene.
That's true, you know, it has to be zany. But
Yeah.
here, no, it's perfectly fine. Okay,
Yeah.
they get to Italy, and then they figure out who the Red Skull is, and then the final action starts. Which, in the 90s action standard, you know, not that great.
Well, you know what it is, though? This is a 90s movie that has 80s standards of action.
Yes,
It's
I know.
already behind.
When I'm thinking 90s, okay, maybe it's unfair, but I'm thinking Terminator 2. You know? So, I'm looking at that and I'm like, nah, no.
But, no, exactly. Like, this is the level of action you'd find in American Ninja.
Yeah, see, if I had compared it to Matrix, you know, it's like, oh, that's really not fair. But yeah, you have certain standards when you hit like certain, you know, 90s and you expect big stuff from a Marvel and, you know, big budget stuff. But yeah, you're right. American Ninja is the perfect, or, you know, some Italian Bruno Mattei movie. And that's pretty much what you get there, you know?
Yeah, and again, budget.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. There's a cool martial arts scene, actually, where there's one of the henchmen is inexplicably Asian, because there's a lot of Asian Nazis. Yes, I realized Japan was part of the Axis of Evil, but historically, Japan and Germany did not get along at all. They were allies of convenience, not anything else.
Pretty much.
So, like, to see that, you know, ninja Asian guy fight was like, why is there an Asian Nazi? But the fight was perfectly serviceable.
Yeah, besides that, you know, the president going into the action as well, you know, who's going to help, the president of the United States is helping Captain America. Is there anything more American than that, you know?
It's that kind of movie, dude.
Exactly. The president and Captain America kicking ass together.
This is an early superhero movie
Yeah.
that doesn't apologize for its superhero premise. It just go like, yeah, there's a Captain America, and yeah, he wears blue spandex. What you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Which, you gotta remember, back when that movie came out, you did not do that. Like, Batman had a rubber suit, but, like, Tim Burton went out of his way, yes, but it's a rubber suit world! It's crazy world!
Yeah.
And, you know, like, even, 10 years later, the X-Men, if you watch the first X-Men movie, half the dialogue is spent apologizing for having mutant powers.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
But not this movie. Like, this movie's going like, yeah, Captain America wears a blue suit, what's your problem?
Pretty much, yeah. Oh no, I remember like all the reviews online, and you read those like they're reviewing like a AAA title of a super blockbuster, you know, summer movie, and it's like, no, these people knew the movie wasn't that good. That's why they released it on VCR. When they watch it, it's like, yeah, no, we can't release this in theaters, you know. So, you know, it's almost like, you know, you're trying to dig for something and comparing it to something it's not. You know, you cannot compare, you know, this to like X-Men First Class or something like that. You just can't. They're not on the same level. So, you know, different budget, different standards, different times. You know, you can't use the same standards. And for what it is, it's perfectly fine, you know.
No, I agree completely. I'm not saying the movie doesn't have its oddities. I thought that the Red Skull's daughter and her team of sexy henchwomen women
yes, sexy ninja women
was odd.
Women's liberation, man. Even women can have kick-ass squads of.
I know, and they're all dressed like Italian models. Like it's
Yeah.
not just that they all look like Italian models. That I'm not surprised because they probably are Italian models.
Indeed.
But they're all dressed like with the big puffy hats, and it's like this is not a runway. Like kick
Yeah.
ass like a normal person.
Exactly. One scene I loved is when, at the beginning of the movie, Captain America loses the Red Skull, he gets strapped to the rocket, and it's like, rockets don't work that way. He's got completely gonna with the aerodynamics of that rocket. It's not gonna fly where it's supposed to, A rocket is not like a car. He has to follow certain laws of physics to get where he wants to.
And what I love is that he was supposed to hit the White House.
Yeah?
Okay. It's heading towards the White House. You see the White House. Then there's a subtitle that says Washington, D.C. in case you thought it was the White House in Ukraine.
Probably,
And then it cuts to a little boy who will grow up to be the president, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
Going like, Mommy, we're in Washington, D.C. I'm like, I know you visually told me twice. But anyway, the rocket goes towards the White House. And it's like, look, it's 1943. By that time, Britain was inventing the first computer to predict where specifically missiles were going to land from Germany to London so that they could evacuate just that area. You're telling me that a rocket going all the way from frickin' Italy all the way to America, and the Americans don't know that the rocket's coming?
Well, rockets were a very new thing, and the V2, the original V2, didn't have the range to go to America, so maybe they didn't really care about it.
Yeah, but like they're not perceiving it flying across an entire freaking ocean towards you, and no one's going like, "Hey, what's that?"
I'm not sure they're picked up on radar, though. Radar is pretty primitive. But yeah, and it's a big ocean. You have to have somebody looking and, hey, what's this? So I could see that. What I liked is that Captain America decided at the last minute, he's like, maybe I should do something about this rocket and try and alter its course. So
throughout the entire ocean, he was just like, wonder what's going to happen next. Land in the water, dumbass!
Yeah. It's like, okay, the White House, oh no, I should do something. I also thought it very nice that the Red Skull, strapped it to the rocket with his shield, because he had it when he was frozen, so I was like, yes, you're being strapped to this rocket, but here's your weapon, just in case.
He likes irony, the Red Skull.
That's the scene that kind of starts the movie on like a kind of a sour note, that you're like, oh, this is ridiculous. But I think it gets better afterwards.
Look, if you like horror B-movies, like Puppet Master and all of that stuff, that's at the level it's playing at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're not gonna blame Puppet Master for having characters who are getting killed one by one and not one of them thinks of picking up the phone and calling the cops, you can't blame Captain America for any of its bullshit. Because it's at that level.
I agree.
The Red Skull even has a character arc. And not a bad one. Where, he's been programmed to be this master Nazi leader and all of that.
Yeah.
And that sort of slowly starts to unravel as Captain America is brought back into his life, and he begins to see both of them as two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And, Captain America eventually reminds him, was like, hey, look, you were a victim of the Nazis too. Like, remember what it is you're standing for. And Red Skull's going like, oh, Christ, I guess we're all both freaks. And he turns into more suicidal mission mode because he doesn't believe in his cause anymore, but he's just rage now. It's like, oh my god, the bad guy even has a completely decent arc, an interesting arc for his character that justifies him being Italian all of a sudden. As opposed to just evil Nazi German.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
I don't know why this movie has such a bad reputation. I don't know why it's universally hated.
And also, you can even see the unfairness even when you read the Wikipedia entry. Like that last scene, okay, mild spoiler. He of course Captain America's going to use his shield,
Yeah.
And then there's his daughter that's like, I'm still there, and she has the gun.
Red Skull's daughter, yeah.
Yeah, Red Skull's daughter, and I'm still there, and she has a gun, and he goes like heads up, and you basically hear the shield like hit her.
Yeah.
You don't see it, but you basically hear that's what's happening.
Yeah, because they don't have the budget to actually hit a woman with a shield.
Exactly. And on Wikipedia it says she got decapitated. I was like, how are you inferring this from that? It's just you're just being unfair.
Yeah.
Because you're hating this movie and you want people to read it as like, oh, this is so stupid. But she's like, no, you're just inferring things because you think the movie is stupid.
Yeah.
But it really isn't,
Yeah. No, and you hear a bong. You don't hear
Yeah.
a slash.
Exactly. So it was like, she went decapitated. No, she didn't. Were you, seriously. I should edit that Wikipedia page, but, I have a life, so I'm not going to do that.
Although, granted, if she had been decapitated, heads up would take a much darker meaning.
Oh,
But-
that would be heads down then or something.
Captain America: The First Avenger. Let's talk about it a little bit. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
No. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a great action movie. I find the action peters out at the end.
Okay.
It's a great character piece. The Captain America character, not someone I really gravitated towards. Again, because he's a little bit perfect, and that makes him
Yeah.
less attractive to me. I like those characters that have something to overcome, and they made him so fascinating and interesting without changing that aspect of it.
Okay.
And Chris Evans, who played the polar opposite in Fantastic Four, like he played a cocky jackass.
Yeah. And he played it well.
Really well. Plays him as this perpetually humble person amazingly well.
Yeah.
Perfect. Chris Evans, he's the real deal. He's a real actor, man.
I know he can, completely different characters, and he gives believable performances. That's what an actor is,
Yeah.
He's not Will Smith playing the same character over and over again. It's like the same persona. He's an actor too, but different kind, I guess.
Well,
But,
Will Smith is capable of playing different
Yeah.
characters. He just stopped doing it at
Yeah,
some point in his
exactly.
career, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Just an
Yeah.
example of characters like, oh, I'm going to see him in the movie, and I'm not going to see a movie about with him in it. you know?
Yeah. No, Chris Evans is definitely more of an actor than a star.
There we go. That's a great way of saying it. I never actually cared for Captain America, mostly because as a kid I thought his powers were boring. You
Okay.
know, he's the poor man's Spider-Man without webs, and he's very, very agile. Okay, and he has a shield. That's lame. That's very lame to me.
Yeah, no, he's a character whose real power is in his personality.
Yeah, as a kid,
He's leadership.
as a kid I didn't get that
Mm.
really. So it's like, and so I kept my own favorites. And when the movie came out, I was like, I'm kind of tired of those superhero movies. I'm going to save myself for the actual big movie where they're all going to come together. Avengers, hope I won't be sick of it, sick of superheroes back then, so I kind of skipped all the prequels, as I call them. But, would you recommend this movie, to somebody that hasn't seen it, but has kind of seen Avengers, or,
Yeah, no, I liked it more than Avengers, to be
Yeah.
honest. Now, I'm not saying it's a better movie than Avengers, mostly because I don't want the hate mail. Avengers is very good at what it does.
Okay.
But what it does is dumb summer blockbuster.
Okay.
Captain America, the first Avenger, is not as good at what it does, but what it does is much more ambitious. It's a character study of a larger-than-life character
Yeah.
and trying to humanize him, making some really interesting pointed points about the difference between the value that you as an American grew up with, taught by your family and your loved ones,
Yeah.
as to the vision of an ideal America versus what America is boasting and trying to be politically, and the difference between the two.
Okay.
Because he's a humble man who represents all of those good values that your American family taught you, if they're good people,
Yeah.
jumping into the political arena where it's a lot more propaganda and a lot more duplicitous in its nature.
What basically wins out, the personal values or the big American one? How does he, comes to term with that? That's kind of interesting.
The way the movie answers that is he becomes a soldier, because a soldier executes for his country
Yeah.
in self-sacrifice. So it's a nice mixture of the values that he's been taught in service of the sword that the politics want to wield.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a really interesting, good movie.
Nice.
Yeah. Yes, if you're a peace-loving hippie, you're going like, how dare you celebrate the soldier? But I will, so fuck you.
Well, I don't know. In World War II, you kind of had to celebrate the soldier, honestly, because they were kind of preventing, Nazis from winning and taking over the world. So, yeah, if you weren't celebrating the soldiers in World War II, there was something wrong with you.
Yeah. There you go.
Basically, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
You know, he's not Captain America fighting in Iraq. You know, he's Captain America fighting the Nazis in World War II. There's a slight difference there. You know.
Well, exactly. And that's what makes the Winter Soldier so interesting.
Okay.
Because from the trailers, it shows that Captain America being a little bit more ambivalent about the wars that S.H.I.E.L.D. is asking him to fight.
Okay.
Or he's like, is that really freedom? Like, am I really fighting for freedom? Because I don't feel as comfortable with this. And again, it's like, it's because what a soldier did in World War II and what a soldier does today is not the same thing.
Yeah.
And somebody like Captain America, who has a strong core and belief in the importance of what he does and of knowing what he's doing, that creates a huge dichotomy and that creates a huge problem for a guy like him.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, that's an interesting angle, you know?
Yeah, it is actually. And just that character that they invented, like the Winter Soldier, is he in the comics?
Yeah, he's in the comics. He's in a Brubaker storyline. That's the writer.
Okay.
Which is probably the single best Captain America storyline I have ever read in the comics.
Oh wow.
And if you see the trailer, that intrigued me. They gave away nothing about who and what the Winter Soldier is.
Yeah.
And you might get the impression that he's some generic villain. I assure you, he is not. He very much fits into very personal themes of Captain America, and he's a very, very, very interesting character. So,
Cool.
yeah.
So you're gonna go and see it?
Oh yeah, I am super jazzed about this. I liked a lot Captain America: The First Avenger. I thought the only thing missing about it was some decent action. I thought that was lacking.
Okay.
And here you see from the trailer that they really upped the ante on that level. So yeah.
All right.
Next week we're reviewing Rio in preparation for Rio 2.
All right.
I'm actually looking forward to it. I haven't seen it, but I have only heard good things about it.
Yeah.
And until then, if you want to share with us your love for the Sentinel of Justice, Captain America, you can write us at mail@idiomanic.com or post a comment at idiomanic.com. Just click on the episode name. We're also on Twitter at Idiomanic. We're also on Facebook. We're also on iTunes. If you could write us an iTunes review and like us on Facebook, we would be very grateful. It helps us continue to get the support to generate patriotic content.
With respect to which country?
And here's the thing, like, Canadians, we are the first one to bitch on Canada.
Yeah.
Always. Like, we're like, yeah, Canada's not that great. Like, that's how we are.
Yeah. Except for hockey. We rule at hockey, and that's about it.
I know, well, you know, we had the Olympics earlier this year, and, like, Canadians have been super graceful as an audience, going like, oh, this country won, good for them. I was like, oh, well, we give it our best, and they gave their best too, and they turned out better. That's all cool. But except for hockey. Like, hockey was like, silver's not a medal!
Pretty much. And, you know, after we won gold, we won the gold medal, we won the Olympics.
Yeah.
Okay? It was quite a sight seeing all those bars that fill up at 7 in the morning to watch a hockey game. That's crazy.
Well, I was actually in Mexico at the time. You know, there was a whole bunch of Canadian tourists, right?
Yeah.
And, like, the day before the final match, they were all at the bar going like, hey, you're going to be open at 6, right? You're going to be open at 6, right? It was so funny.
That's crazy.
And the barman, you know, he's Mexican. He has no idea why these people are obsessed with this. He doesn't even know they're Canadian. He can't tell the difference between a Canadian and an American. And he's like, what, 6? Yeah. And you're going to have coffee? Yeah, we're open 24 hours. Like, yeah, but you're going to open at 6? We're open 24 hours. But are you going to be open at 6? It was so funny.
Nice.